It's a strange world we live in. Over the last few months, Piers Morgan has been really at the forefront of criticising Israel, its war crimes. He won't go far enough to say it's a genocide. I think he will in a few months' time. But I think it's really interesting that even Piers Morgan, a cynical grifter, knows the writings on the wall. Like, it's unequivocal what's happening and what's happened. And today I want to go over a clip where he really just schools and he really lays out the hypocrisy of an Israeli ambassador, Danon. Let's get straight into it because it's just the level of denial is just really fascinating to analyze.
Strip, which involved removing any ability to bring in food or aid or water, starving people in a way that is a war crime by most people's understanding of that. You've now allowed a minimal amount of food to be going in after a huge international outcry. You say that one child the New York Times put on the front page wasn't starving. He clearly was starving. He just had other medical issues going on as well. And there are, we know from all the imagery, well, you can shake your head, but there are, as you know, many images coming out of Gaza.
Let's speak about the New York Times.
Well, hang on, let me finish. Let me finish. I'll let you finish. That there are many images coming out of Gaza of starving children. We're not making this up. And if you really believe it's not happening and all of this is a blood libel, then again, and I've had this conversation with you before, you should be pressurizing your prime minister to allow international media to go into Gaza to verify exactly what is happening. But, you know, I want to play you a clip. This is from the BBC. Oh, hang on.
Okay, so he doesn't believe starvation is happening. Okay, so where are they getting their food from? If you're not letting, the IDF aren't letting food in, and by no accident, by the way, like, this is an orchestrated mass starvation campaign. Let's call it what it is. Like, the idea is just, and this is fascism. They live in a different reality. They cannot recognize the world we actually live in. And it's insane. It's insane.
I want to play you a clip
No,
from
but
Jeremy Bowen.
you're spreading so many lies.
Hang on one second. Ambassador, with respect, I will let you respond. I will let you respond. But I will let you respond, but let me just play one clip to you of the BBC's Middle East editor, Jeremy Bowen, who's reported from every war zone in the last 25, 30 years. Here's what he reported for the BBC.
So the Jordanians have passed on a message from the Israelis. The Israelis don't want us to film out of the window at the devastation inside Gaza. But I've spent 10 minutes looking at it with my own eyes. And I can tell you that communities in the north of Gaza that I knew well, very vibrant, tens of thousands of people living hard lives, but actually with a remarkable human spirit, are flat. There's nothing left of them.
Does a democracy, does a free country that accepts, reality, evidence, journalism, would they suppress that information? Well, answer for yourself.
Now, that's the truth, isn't it, Ambassador? You don't want journalists to go in there because what they're going to uncover and report to the world is utterly horrifying. You have destroyed 2/3, if not more now, of the Gaza Strip. You've displaced 2 million people into a very small area of the Strip. And you now have ministers who you say we shouldn't take seriously, but whose views are never publicly corrected or condemned by Prime Minister Netanyahu. So Smotrich and Ben-Gvir talk openly now about a plan to remove all Palestinians from the Gaza Strip and from the West Bank. And you simply say, as the ambassador, well, you shouldn't take them seriously. Why shouldn't we?
Yes,
why shouldn't we? I've not heard Netanyahu. Netanyahu doesn't say what they're saying is wrong.
Keep going. If that's an interview, keep going. For 6 minutes now.
Yeah, asking you questions that you are unable to answer. Yes, keep going. Ask you, like, that they have nothing. And it is fascinating to because we'll look back at these historical documents and go, well, like why were they allow this happen? Like, why wasn't there an intervention, a liberal intervention, like we like to do in Iraq? No, it boggles the mind.
No, now you can respond.
You're saying movies.
I'm not spreading lies.
If I would have to respond, each allegation, it would take us 15 minutes now. So when you say a lie,
tell me the lie.
You spoke about the New York Times picture. Let's speak about that for a minute. That was blood libel. When you put a picture of a sick Palestinian boy was a disease and you claim that he was starving, that was a lie. And by the way, they retracted that. But the way they retracted it was also...
Yeah, we're talking about the New York Times here. That they're not the best on Israel, are they? Let's be honest.
So shameful. They put it in a small page on their Twitter with
Right, but to be clear, I said that other children...
Yeah, but like that, like kind of invalidates the fact that Israel is starving Palestinians. Like a famine is happening right now. Right now, as we watch this video.
Children were starving. I said
No,
other children were starving. Do you
said
deny that?
No, you said that this boy was also starving. You want to rewind it 2 minutes ago?
The boy is clearly...
He was also starving.
The boy
Look at
is
his
clearly...
brother.
The boy
Look
was
at the
clearly...
picture.
The boy was clearly emaciated, Ambassador. Clearly emaciated. So yes, he has a medical condition, but also he's clearly not eating, right?
No,
so
that's
why
not
deny
true.
what we see?
Literally, in a different reality. Like, you can't accept reality for what it is. You have to come up with your own, like, oh no, he's not starving, even though, like, you can literally see his rib cage.
With their own eyes.
So look at his brother when you can see in the picture that his brother is well fed and he has no issues with the family.
Oh my fucking God. No issues. Well fed, he's fine. He's happy. You know, his brother's ill, starving to death, but you know, they're fine. Like, all they have is denial, deflection, rejection of reality.
But this boy, because
this boy is not eating, right? So, fine, but is your position, to be clear, that no... Are you saying no children are starving in Gaza? Is that your position?
I'm telling you that there is no starvation in Gaza. There is a starvation campaign, a very successful one, by the way. And this campaign is that.
Well, Donald Trump believes there's a starvation.
Wait, let me finish.
No starvation.
With all due respect, with this campaign, that is the reason you don't have a ceasefire now. Because Hamas believes that because now they get.
See, it's the same old talking points. Same old talking. Like it's just. You're gonna have to try harder. They've got to hire some PR company, come up with some new talking points, because these ones, they're not working anymore.
The support of the international
they never worked.
Community, all of a sudden they don't need to negotiate with Israel.
Yes, they are. Israel doesn't want to negotiate with Hamas. They don't care. They want to continue the slaughter, the starvation. They don't care about a solution to this. Fascists want an ongoing war. That's what they thrive on. Rejection of reality, suppression of freedom of speech, suppression of reality, nationalism and ethno-nationalism. Palestinians don't have the same rights as Israelis. This isn't a democracy by any means. They say, oh, a democracy. No.
Because aid is coming in, they can take over the aid again, and we can speak about what's happened with the UN not picking up the aid because of Hamas. They will not tell you that, but you have aid inside Gaza that the UN is not capable of distributing it. But it's easier to blame Israel. So for Hamas now, they make...
Because Israel are to blame. They're stopping them going in. Like, there's plenty of aid. They're just stopping it getting to the people in Gaza. This is Israel's fault.
Make a mistake. They think they shouldn't negotiate with us. But I tell you that we will not stop this war with the hostages in Gaza, regardless of what you're going to say, regardless of the...
Just shameless. Just like, regardless of what say, criticize our genocidal, like, famine campaign. We don't care. We'll just do what we want. There is no rules to us, because that's what fascists do. Again, the law, like human rights, laws, they don't apply to fascists. They're above them. To them, it transcends the cause. Like laws, human rights, killing innocents, we don't care. And it's so ironic if you think about it. It's so ironic.
Blood libel we saw at the New York Times and other media outlets. We know it's a campaign, but this campaign will not change our determination to bring them home. We will not leave them in the tunnels, regardless of all those lies.
They're dead in the tunnels. None of these hostages are alive now. You've killed them. Let's be honest about this.
All those declarations.
Do you accept that if there is an attempt to move the Palestinian population out of Gaza completely, that would represent ethnic cleansing and a war crime?
Of course he doesn't. He doesn't believe it. These are fascists. Like, they don't believe. Like, listen to his answer.
You accept that in principle?
Absolutely not.
Of course not. Of course he fucking doesn't. He doesn't see this as people. Different laws. They're above the law. They just go, yeah, whatever. Like, whatever it takes for them to get their wannabe ethno-state.
You know, I think President Trump put it forward, and he said that it should require consent. If somebody in Gaza wants to move now to a different place, he should be allowed to do it. Nobody should force him. But if he wants to move
And what
out,
if they don't
you know,
want to?
If you want,
What if it's involuntary?
If you want to move now from London to New York, or from New York to London, you can do that. You can apply for a student
No,
visa.
I'm asking
you can go
about if
visit
it's
your family.
involuntary.
No, I'm
What if
speaking
it's
only
involuntary?
Yeah, and can people in Palestine and Gaza do that? Can they apply for a visa to maybe live in Israel or New York or London? I think we know the answer to that.
No, absolutely not. I'm talking about consent from both sides. Consent
Right,
of the
but if there's no
individual who wants to
consent,
move.
do you accept if there is no consent from the Palestinian people
no one
to
is-
be
no one
moved,
is speaking-
displaced out of Gaza?
Absolutely.
Let me finish my question.
No one is speaking about.
Ambassador, let me ask you a precise question so the viewers can understand. If it is done without their consent, in other words, they are forcefully displaced out of Gaza, out of the West Bank, would you accept that is ethnic cleansing and a war crime if that is what happens?
No one is speaking about that. That is something which is not acceptable.
They are. Smotrich
No.
and Ben-Gvir.
That wasn't the question. And they are speaking about it, but that wasn't the question. Do you accept this is happening? And they can't. Again, fascists don't like reality. They can't deal with it. They have to form this mythos of Israel that was born in 1948, and to them, they've owned it for thousands of years. It's their land. They're entitled to it. And they will do what it takes. And what is America, what's the UK doing about it? They've let it happen. So the question is, what happens next? Well, we know Netanyahu is not going to be held accountable. We know that maybe Gazans, like, how many are alive? Are they going to have a chance to get justice? Probably not. It's a very depressing situation. And, like, what is there to say? Apart from putting pressure on our local MPs, Keir Starmer. Like, this, I hopefully will end Keir Starmer's career. That's the best that we can hope in the UK. And that's how sad it is. That's how depressing the situation is. So, comment below, why are fascists like this? Like, why are fascists like this? And I'll see you in the next video.